What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is another E55 Chronicle. Today, we're going to talk about how do you know when you are experiencing a dark night of the soul. I'm getting a lot of requests on this one, so make sure you like the video and please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I'm live for other messages like this, other material, and lots more. Please feel free to leave a comment in the chat to let me know how it's resonating with you. If you're watching this after this airs, please, you know what to do. Leave a comment as well and we'll get back to you. All right. Make sure you take some time to look at some of the other videos on the channel, by the way. So, how do we know if we are experiencing a dark night of the soul? Well, let's start off by getting a little information on what that is exactly. There's so many different definitions online. I know a lot of you probably have Googled it, trying to figure out, am I going through, is this depression? Or if I'm going through a dark night of the soul, what's going on? I know I'm on a spiritual journey, but how can I tell what I'm actually going through? Okay, so let me read this to you for a little bit here. A dark night of the soul is both the most painful and best possible, most transformative thing anyone can and will experience at some point in their life. Okay? And in simple terms, it's a spiritual crisis, an ego death, existential crisis, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Existential. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay. Let me say something. How you know that you're going through a dark night of the soul is when you have that time in your life. And for a lot of you, you may have went through this a few times. I'm not talking about your normal worry. I'm not talking about your normal depression. I'm not talking about your normal upset about things didn't work out. No. I'm talking about when it seems like everything is piling up on you. Okay, say for instance, you going through a bad breakup, right? You're like, oh my God, I've been with this man or this woman for years and I got to deal with this breakup. I got to deal with a divorce. And then you turn around, you got to do something else. Your friends are tripping, right? You turn around, you got issues on your job. You turn around, you got issues with somebody else that you don't even know. You got issues going on in your neighborhood. It just seems like it's one thing after the other. Then when you figure out, okay, yeah, I finally, I'm starting to feel better. Then it seems like other things start happening. You know, you get one problem solved, then 5 problems come. And you're like, what's going on, y'all? This is where your will is being tested. This is where you are actually going to see, or you have seen, for those of you who already experienced this, you're going to see how strong you are. You're going to see and recognize how much work you need to do to get to where you want to be. And also it pulls different parts of you out that without the trigger responses such as breakups or disappointments or showing you the real face of people, you wouldn't see it. Let's break it down. Okay. Let's start with first and foremost relationships. Y'all already know when you in a relationship, I don't know about y'all, but like with me, I give it my all. Once I know we are official, I'm all in. On the dating phase and all that, now we just trying to get to know each other. But once I know we are official, I'm all in. So when it does not work out, right? For whatever the reason, whether it was me, whether it was him, whether it was a situation, it hits hard for me. I'm sure a lot of you know that. And the lesson normally when it hits hard like that, yes, it is painful to get out of any relationship that was significant to you. But sometimes we can lose ourselves in relationships. And sometimes that relationship is taken away because there's something there that we're forgetting about ourselves. So then we go through, and we can't control the actions of other people. Sometimes it could be because that person doesn't know their value. So they don't value you. And whatever happens, it results in an ending, right? So where the dark night of the soul comes in is this situation that you were once so emotionally attached to is snatched away, right? And you are left to deal with your soul, with your spirit, without that emotional attachment. And we as human beings are emotional creatures, especially women, but men too. Okay, we all have emotions. So when something is snatched away from you, you're like, oh my goodness, what do I do now? So you immediately go into what I like to look at it as like an emotional crisis, because you panic, your system panics, you cry, some of you hyperventilate, you just don't know what to do, you're all out of sorts. And then if you notice, after a while, you start calming down and you realize, like, oh my god, this is really done, this is really over, like, and your body starts to desensitize. It starts to really get to a place of understanding what's really going on. So in that moment, you are analyzing so much about the relationship, so much about yourself. You're looking at what you did, what you didn't do. You're looking at what this person did or didn't do. You're looking at it all. All right. And then it's like you're going through the motion. If you are grieving in the correct way, you're going through the motion. Each day is different. Each day should be getting better, but each day is different. So then there's another part of your life that goes on. You could have issues with family. You could have issues on your job. You could have issues with your friends. And it seems like, in this point, it seems like everything is piling on top of you, right? So let's say you have given yourself time to get over this major event, which was this breakup or this divorce. It's been 2 or 3 months, and you still been healing, you still been processing, you've been on your spiritual journey, you've been doing positive affirmations, you've been meditating, you're doing all that, and you still dealing with all this other stuff. Well, you're still in your dark night of the soul, because you're still having to look within to figure out what you need for yourself, and also to awaken that part of you that it's time for it to wake up. It's time for another gift to be opened. It's time for you to implement a change in yourself. A lot of times when we are in a relationship, we're manifesting what we really want without us knowing it. And sometimes the person that we're with just don't equal up to the manifestation. So what happens is that person's removed, or the real value of that person or the real intentions of that person is revealed to you. Because sometimes you can have it in our head of what we know we want and what we deserve. And then this person that we're with, I don't know, it's just like it just kicks in and automatically it's done, right? So you go on about, you say we're 2 or 3 months after the breakup, after the divorce, you're doing pretty good, you're still doing your thing, and then all of a sudden you get a trigger, right? You get a trigger, you get something else that puts you in your feels, whether it's a disappointment of another sort. So remember, you're still going through this phase of transforming. If you think about a butterfly, when it's a caterpillar, it has been proven that transforming for a caterpillar is painful. Okay, so knowing that in this dark time you are processing, you're looking over things, you're handling each event as it comes. When I'm talking each event, I'm talking about you're dealing with the breakup, you're dealing with the broken friendship, you're dealing with family members acting all crazy, you're dealing with your job probably coming down on you, you're trying to figure out what your next route is, and it just seems like everything, it literally feels like you're in darkness. If you think about, you're walking in a dark tunnel with no lights, no nothing, right? You're just walking. And the thing that's keeping you going is your faith. So you just keep walking down this dark tunnel. You're walking, walking, walking. You may trip a little bit, but you get right back up. You're walking, walking, walking. And then all of a sudden you look at the end of that tunnel. You're like, wait a minute, is that some light? Is that light down there? So, and usually when you start seeing the light while you're in this tunnel, it's because you're starting to see your value. You're starting to see, oh man, I couldn't control every single thing in this situation. What am I doing? Right? So let's look at some more information when we're talking about the dark night of the soul. Okay. All right. It says, I have a question. It says, do twin flames trigger dark night of the soul? Emotional intensity. The strong bond between twin flames can bring to the surface buried emotions and past traumas, right? As these emotions erupt, one might feel overwhelmed, potentially precipitating the dark night. Yes. So I don't feel like it's just twin flame. I think any connection that you could be in, even down to a friendship, could trigger a dark night of the soul. Okay. Yes. And let me see if I have anything else here in my notes that I want to add. Because the thing about it is, when you're in this process and you're really doing what you need to do, um, you have a moment of clarity here. And that's the part. It is very painful, but you do have that exceptional moment of clarity. Okay. And the whole point of the dark night of the soul is to implement and fall into your rebirth, your re-evaluation, your new version of you, to get to that new version of you. I know you always hear people saying, I want to get to the new version of me. That past version is gone. I want to get to myself 2.0, right? Want to get to, like with me, Empress 555 2.0. And so with anything, a part of you has to die. There's a part of you has to get into the darkness and it has to die. You have to lose a part of you to gain a new part. And so what happens is when you really let that part of you, insecurity, jealousy, whatever it was you were dealing with unhealthy people, toxic relationships, when you let that part of you die, you leave room to grow more. You leave room to implement more healing, healthier situations, everything else, So, this can be painful to say goodbye to toxic people. This can be painful to recognize, like, hey, I was insecure. Hey, I was once toxic. Hey, I did do this in my last relationship. It's not all of my fault, but I did do this. I did say this. I did act this way. This is part of the dark night of the soul. So when you come on the other end of that, you should be more enlightened. You should be more in tune. Okay. So let's read a little bit more. The purpose of it is to die to and let go of the false sense of identity so that you may become aware of who you really are and can be reborn into your truest self. That you realize that who you truly are is your higher self or your core existence. Your higher self is essentially your soul, the most natural you. And this is from an expert by Daniel Subik on Quora. Okay, so that's a perfect way to explain that situation. Let me see. Let me look a little bit more. The transformation into this you occurs into you occurs through the pain and suffering you experience during the dark night of the soul. Yes, yes, yes. So, if you allow yourself to really feel these feelings during this time, in the end, you will see the results. You will see that the inner work that you're doing to heal yourself from whatever it was, like I mentioned earlier, the breakup, tragedy, loss, whatever, in the end, and you do it the right way, you're going to see so many benefits. A lot of people don't want to feel the pain, so they miss out on the benefit. And so they wonder why they have to keep repeating the cycle, because there's something that you miss while you're walking down that tunnel. There's some clarity you're supposed to get. There's some peace that you're supposed to allow into your life. And the Most High or the Divine will see you through that. So our goal is to make sure that we're keeping our heart space open, and also don't give up on yourself. Recognize that you're human. That's the most thing. When you get into your spirit, when you get into your most natural and purest self, you are recognizing, hey, I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. I make mistakes. I did this to myself. I didn't deserve this, but I did this to myself. And so when you're going through this process and you're looking at things from that standpoint, you begin to have a better understanding of who you are, what your purpose is, and what you bring to the table. And after going through a situation like that, you will notice that your interest in your dating options will change. Your interest in your friend group will change. Your interest in your own activities will change, even down to your interest in what you want to invest your time in will change, because you have a better understanding of the fact that you're human and you're here for a purpose. Your spirit is here in this vessel for a purpose, and you are here to shed love, spread love, give guidance, and also receive those things in return. Okay? Because if we were not supposed to coexist, there would be no other human here. Or there would be a whole world full of you. Like doppelgangers, like there would just be a whole world full of you. There would be no other different type of person, race, gender, size, if we were all supposed to be the same. So each one of us can teach the other one something new. And so in order for us to really see that, in order for us to really get that, we must first look at our mistakes. And we usually do that by trauma triggers like breakups, losses, um, some type of conflict, some type of life altering situation. Unfortunately, it triggers that, because what better time to transform than when you're in pain? A lot of people, if it hurts bad enough, you want to do whatever it takes not to feel that anymore. So this is why your deepest and darkest version of you is pulled. Just imagine that being pulled to the surface, which can be very painful for you to look at all angles. You're looking at yourself from all angles, and you're able to see like, hey, I did this to me. I did that to me. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not the same person I used to be. I'm still me, but I'm me 2.0. And now that I know what I need to do to keep myself good, when I come out of this dark night of the soul, I'm going to have so much more power. I'm going to feel so much better, but I'm never going to forget what I had to go through, that dark tunnel, in order to get to the light. Because if you keep walking down that dark tunnel, I promise you, you will see your way. You will see that light at the end. And once you get to that light, when you get to the light and you look back down that dark tunnel, you're going to remember. So never forget where you come from. Never forget where you had to go, which is into the darkness to get to the light. All right. I hope this helped y'all. Please leave me a comment to let me know how it resonates. This is your girl, Empress 555. Hope to see you soon. Take care of yourself. Remember, you are worth it always. Be blessed, stay blessed, and stay positive. Have a great one, y'all. Love you. Bye.